Welcome, dear students. Welcome back to our ongoing series on disaster management. In the previous lecture, we learned about some basic introduction about major hazards with regards to textile processing industries. Let us continue with our previous lecture. So, the last lecture we ended with the cotton dust and its related hazards and what are the control measures we can do, what are the preventive or mitigation measures we can adopt, what are some of the measures that the employee as well as employer both should consider. Okay, now that was about the cotton dust. Now let us have a discussion about dyeing industry hazards. So I have prepared some slides for you in which you can understand the crest of the dyeing industry hazards. So let us start with fire and explosion. The fire hazards found in a dye works are the flammable solvents. Okay, they are used in the processes and certain flammable dye stuff. Now, safe storage facilities should be provided for both, that is properly designed storerooms constructed of fire resisting materials with a raised and ramped sill at the doorway so that escaping liquid is contained within the room, okay, and prevented from flowing to a place where it may be ignited. So closed sealed rooms में इनको रखना है. ठीक है. Then let us say ये आपका गेट है यहाँ पे. सो ये गेट का जो लेवल है बाहर का फ्लोर लेवल, it should be lower so that in case if there is a leak or there is any disaster in which liquid starts to flow, so it is contained well within this room and it is not allowed to flow through this door to the outside area. It is preferable that the stores of this nature are to be located outside the main factory. If large quantities of flammable liquids are kept in tanks outside the building, the tank area should be mounted to contain escaping liquid. Okay, फ्लेमेबल लिक्विड्स क्या जो आग पकड़ सकते हैं बहुत आसानी से. नेक्स्ट, सिमिलर अरेंजमेंट शुड बी मेड व्हेन द gaseous fuel used on the singing machines are obtained from a light petroleum fraction. Okay, the gas making plant and the storage facilities for the volatile petroleum spirit should preferably be outside the building. Next, about chemical hazards. Many factories in the textile industries they use hypochlorite solution for bleaching purposes. In others, the bleaching agent is gaseous chlorine, okay, or bleaching powder, which releases chlorine when it is changed into tank. In other cases, the workers may be exposed to this dangerous levels of chlorine, a skin and eye irritant, and a dangerous pulmonary tissue irritant causing delayed lung edema might be in the labors might be infected by this. Okay. Next, to limit the escape of chlorine into the worker's atmosphere, bleaching vats bleaching vats should be designed as closed vessel provided with vents that limit the escape of chlorine so that the relevant recommended maximum exposure levels are not exceeded. Next, atmospheric chlorine levels should be checked periodically to ensure that the exposure limit is not being exceeded. Next, we have sizing hazards. So, first one here is safety. So, at eco textile mills, no PVA or polyvinyl alcohol is used. The company requires its mills to use potato starch or carboxymethyl cellulose, which is cellulose dissolved by an acid to become a liquid. It is used in food and is chemically inert and non-toxic and is allowed under global organic textile standard. So the sizing section is between 5 to 10 cubic meter effluent per day. It is responsible for around 1 to 5% of effluent generation. Next, we have hazards with regards to bleaching and its what are the safety measures. So in bleaching section, around 220 to 250 cubic meter of effluent exhaust per day is seen. What is effluent? It is basically it might be the water mixed with the waste material which has been used in various processes. So let us say this is your factory. So whatever these factories throw out as waste water, you can say they are termed as effluent. Okay, it is responsible for around 10 to 15% of effluent generation. This bleaching alone. Okay. Next, chlorine bleach is known to be extremely toxic to the environment and to the consumers both. Yet, the chlorine based chemicals are still often used to bleach the fabrics. Next, in eco textile mills, the bleaching method must be oxygen based and the wastewater should be treated. Okay. In one mill, ozone, a very new technology, is used for bleaching. So these are some of the future scope. These are mitigating measures that ozone may be used. Then this technology relies on cool water rather than having to maintain the fabric in a hot water bath for many hours. And the ozone breaks down into water and oxygen, which helps in bleaching. Many textile manufacturers use dyes that release aromatic amines such as benzidrine and toluidine. So these dye bath effluents, they may contain heavy metals, ammonia, alkali salts, toxic solids and large amount of pigments, many of which are toxic. About 40% of globally used colorants contain organically bound chlorine, which is a known carcinogen. What were the carcinogens? I hope you can recall in the last lecture I have told you the elements or compounds that cause cancer or the cancer causing agents. So about 40% of globally used colorants, that is the pigments or dyes that are used to color, contain organically bound chlorine. Natural dyes are rarely of low impact depending on the specific dye. Mordants, the substance used to fix the color into the fabric, such as chromium. These are very toxic and have high impact on environment as well as people. The large quantities of the natural dyestuffs required for dyeing typically equal to or double that of fiber's own weight. It makes natural dyes prepared from wild plants, lichens, with a very high impact. Eco textiles they uses low impact reactive dyes in a closed 100-piece system. While they are the lowest impact fiber reactive dyes available, the dyes are by no means of low impact. At best, about 80% of the dye stuff stay on the fabric while the rest go down the drain. The water is contained and treated before returning to the ecosystem. Last point, in eco-textile dyes contain no heavy metals, so the dye house waste water treatment yields pristine water. That is, these eco-textile industries, they don't contain any, इनमें कोई heavy metals नहीं है. Okay. So since heavy metals नहीं है, तो इनके वाटर ट्रीटमेंट में जो ये एफ्लुएंट निकल रहा है, इनका जो ट्रीटमेंट करने की जरूरत है इन वेस्ट वाटर ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट, it is very less and the water that is coming out, it is much purer as compared to other textile mills. Okay, this effluent needs less treatment. सो इससे अपन ने सीखा कि अपने को कोशिश करनी चाहिए इको टेक्सटाइल सेटअप करने की। देन ये भी कोशिश करनी चाहिए कि डाइज अपन नेचुरल यूज करें। नेचुरल यूज नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, अगर ज़्यादा अवेलेबिलिटी नहीं है, तो अपन ट्राई करें कि इस तरीके के यूज़ ना करें जिसमें हैवी मेटल्स और टॉक्सिक केमिकल्स ज़्यादा हों। ओके, let us move ahead. So let us now move on to printing hazards and the safety measures related to it. Now printing is carried out on a roller printing machine. I have also put a photo in the introductory slide. The dye or pigment is thickened with starch or made into emulsion, which in the case of pigment colors is prepared with an organic solvent. The health hazards associated with this type of printing are the same as those discussed above. Okay, solvent based pigment printing, let us have a look. So solvent based printing system, it uses large amount of solvents such as mineral spirits in the thickening system, and the major hazards are flammability. The thickening systems contain up to 40% solvents and are highly flammable. Next, about air emissions, the solvents in this print system will be flashed off from the oven during dyeing and curing. Local environmental regulation will dictate the permissible levels of volatile organic compound emissions that can be tolerated. Next are aqueous based pigment printing. So pigment printing requires the use of cross linker to assist in bonding of the pigment in fabric. Now, formaldehyde has been found to be carcinogenic in mice, but it has not yet been conclusively associated with cancer in humans. It is classified as a group 2A carcinogen by the International Agency for Research on Cancer, IARC. Now, to protect the local environment emission from the plant, they have to be monitored to ensure that levels of formaldehyde do not exceed those stipulated by the applicable regulations. Next, ammonia is often used as a print paste thickener, and care should be taken to handle ammonia in a well ventilated area and to wear respiratory protection if necessary. Next, since all dyes and pigments used in printing are usually in liquid form, the dust exposure is not a hazard in printing as it is in dyeing. सो हजार्ड्स दोनों में चेंज आ रहे हैं आपके सामने। दो बड़ी यूनिट्स हैं, यूनिट 4 and 5, दोनों में टेक्सटाइल इंडस्ट्री से रिलेटेड हैं। सो एज अ स्टूडेंट यू शुड बी वेरी वेल be clear conceptually that what are the differences between hazards of cotton dust, the differences with dyeing, then printing and finishing. छोटे से कंसेप्ट्स हैं, बहुत इजीली यू कैन फैच मार्क्स। ठीक है, आपको ज़्यादा परेशान होने की ज़रूरत नहीं है। इसमें कुछ टेक्सटाइल इंडस्ट्रीज के बारे में बेसिक्स आपको बस समझने की ज़रूरत है। रेस्ट you can definitely write from these notes which I'll be sharing कि क्या क्या hazards और क्या क्या measures and safety measures that can be taken for each of these things. Okay, and you can score very well in this mark. Next we have finishing hazards and safety measures involved. Now one type of chemical finishing does not involve a chemical reaction. The application of a softener or a hand builder to modify the feel and texture of the fabric or to improve its sewability. This presents no significant hazards except for the possibility of irritation in skin and eye contact, which can be prevented by the use of proper gloves and eye protection. Okay, nothing much in finishing. Now, how to reduce the risks? Now, design and pre-modification review. This involves proper layout, facilities, and material selection. Now, research should be done to try to substitute extremely toxic chemicals with safer ones. Less chemicals should be stored. A reduction in inventory will automatically means less damage in case of an accident. Okay. Next, chemical risks assessment. Now, chemicals are assessed based on compatibility, flammability, toxicity, explosion hazards, and storage hazards. Then we have process safety management. So, HAZOP studies reliability assessment of process equipments, then incorporating safety trips and interlocks, scrubbing system, etc. should be done before effecting major process changes. Now, management should try to develop a culture of safety in industrial organizations. Further, what can be done? We can perform safety audits. So, periodical assessment of safety procedures and practices, performance of safety systems and gadgets, along with follow up measures should be carried out. Basically, what we are doing, safety audits, what it means, safety checks, you can say, or to check whether the procedures are being followed, whether all the practices mentioned have been followed, whether the machines that are being used are in good shape. Okay, so these are some things that we need to consider. Now, next is emergency planning. So, comprehensive risk analysis indicating the impact of consequences and specific written down and practiced emergency procedures along with suitable facilities should be done. This can be done by communities as well as national or regional corporation authorities. Next is training. So, proper training of employees and protective services should be done from time to time. Okay, and special escort for dangerous vehicles must be there. Further, what can be done? Public cooperation on the road. The public should cooperate with the police and any tankers and heavy duty vehicles to avoid accidents and allow for the shortest possible on road time for dangerous vehicles. Public awareness. So everyone should be aware of potential disasters and informed of protective and safety measures. The MSDS sheet should be readily available on the public and cautions must be placed to stand out on dangerous household and car care products. Okay. Now, proper storage of hazardous materials. All chemicals and hazardous materials should be kept at proper storage temperature and in locked cupboards away from children and animals. Okay. Also, if reactive substances are stored, it should be stored in a watertight container. So, to conclude our discussion on the hazards of textile industries, I prepared this one slide. Have a look at it, read it whenever you're revising it, go through it once again. So, in the textile industry, dyeing, printing, and finishing operations present a mixture of old, generally small establishment in which worker safety, health, and welfare are given little attention. Okay, this is the very big problem. And newer, larger establishments with ever improving technology in which, to the extent possible, hazards control is built into the design of the machinery. So, in addition to the specific hazards outlined above, such problems as substandard lighting, noise, incompletely guarded machineries, lifting and carrying of heavy or bulky objects, poor housekeeping, and so on remain ubiquitous. Therefore, a well formulated and implemented safety and health program that includes the training and effective supervision of workers is a necessity. So, with this, I will end our discussion of lecture 17 and 18 on industrial hazards. Okay. If you have any query, do post it in the comments or you can message me directly. So, thank you for watching these two lectures. In the next lecture, we will be continuing with the next topics, the remaining topics, and we'll be completing the course within a couple of next lectures. So, thank you for watching. Have a good day and see you in the next one.